Welcome, everyone. The Hollywood Reporter and Caring have partnered this year to bring some of the most interesting and influential voices in film together at the 68th Annual Cannes Film Festival. The goal is to celebrate the achievements of women in film, explore their challenges, and inspire the next generation. I'm Alison Brower, Deputy Editorial Director of The Hollywood Reporter, and today we are joined by Iranian actress and musician Golshifteh Farahani, who has lived and worked in Paris since 2008. Golshifteh has appeared in more than 25 films, most from her native Iran, such as the acclaimed drama About Ellie, but also many French films, including The Patient's Stone and Eden, and a few big, loud American ones, Ridley Scott's Body of Lies and Exodus, and coming up in 2017, the next installment of Pirates of the Caribbean. Here at Cannes, hey,
Very sorry.
No, it's all in the mix. Here at Cannes, Golshifteh is the star of the Critics' Week film Les Deux Amis, or Two Friends, which was produced by Jean-Philippe Toussaint, a Belgian producer whose other films include La Moustache, Caramel, and The Hedgehog, and is also the founder of Paris's Galerie Cinéma, which aims to bridge the worlds of cinema and art. So we will talk today about your wonderful film and the very fascinating female character. But first I'd like to know briefly how each of you came into filmmaking and how in your development of your career your identity as a woman was an obstacle, an opportunity, not for yourself, but perhaps in perceptions and of others. I know you started acting very young, Golshifteh.
Yes. Hello, first. Yes, everything about me, being born in Iran, being a woman, it seems like my life, like everything about me was a big obstacle, but all these big obstacles made me become where I am and who I am, and it keeps on going and going, like all the challenges. Me, I was born in a very artistic family. My father's a writer, theater director, actor. My mother is a painter, actor. My sister is an actor, painter. My brother is a musician and also sort of painter. I was studying music and I was snobbing cinema. I didn't like it at all. I was thinking, what are these people doing since I was a child, going to some shootings of my father. And just life pushed me a little bit towards cinema. When I was 14, I did this movie with a very intellectual director in Iran called Dariush Mehjouri, and since then my path has changed really, and and it's very funny, sometimes I don't know if they choose me because of who I am, and I play, like my first movie, I played a tomboy that wanted to go to Paris and become an actress. And she dies very early, so I hope this is not going to be my path. But sometimes I ask myself, is it the stories that are guiding my life, or is it my life that is pushing me towards playing in some certain parts? And then I was working in Iran, and then in 2007, again by chance, Ridley Scott contacted so many women in the Middle East. And we were so many from Iran, and then it happened that I was going to States, and again, so many obstacles. I was an Iranian resident, so Americans, they couldn't sign a contract with me because I was Iranian. I couldn't even tell anyone in Iran because I didn't really know what was happening. At the end, they gave me an exceptional exemption from cultural affairs from the State Department, so I can do this movie. And then after that, the government of Iran, because they were saying, working with Americans are going to destroy the face of us. The movie wasn't even out yet. So when I came back directly from Body of Lies, the shooting, they gave me a very, very hard time confiscating my passport, and I had like 7 months of interrogations, just answering all about what happened and who was the casting director, who is this spy behind all this. And I was saying, there's no spy, there's nothing, look at all Ridley Scott's movies. But then I didn't know that I have to be out of Iran when the movie is coming out. And then in a very funny, long story, I managed to get out. But then people, they think you leave Iran and everything is okay because you're free. But then the big falling starts when you come on exile and you think life is finishing in front of you. I was saying cinema is finished, my life is finished. I wouldn't even speak French. And now I'm here. And I'm very happy and grateful to my interrogators and the government of Iran and the fascist regime, because they all led me to such a wonderful light. Well. So the result is that thank you, the government of Iran, really. Thank you, we such terrible.
I'm going to say, Anne Dominique, I know your story does not have this much drama, but still I want to know. I want to know how you arrived at this world.
Because on the contrary of Golshifteh, I've never had an obstacle to do what I want, because I was born in Brussels, grown up in Paris, in Europe, and so I know how lucky I am. I studied history at La Sorbonne, and then I went to Rome in Italy, and I decided I was 20 and I was dreaming of my life. And as a European girl, I was thinking and feeling that everything is possible. So that is something really important to know that. And because now, after all these years, I feel that I have a mission to help other women and other people to feel this freedom that I have always known. So and so my story is very more simple, sorry. So I went to Italy, and then I was studying history, medieval history, and with Umberto Eco. And at this moment I said, I don't want to live my life like that. I want to work in the movie industry, and I would like to be a producer. I didn't know at that moment what exactly the producer is, but I was very, I think it was very attractive. And so in 1990, I opened my company thanks to my brother. My brother is a writer, quite famous writer. He's called Jean-Philippe Toussaint. And we decided to make a film together. He wrote a book and made a film out of his book. And I produced it. This book is Monsieur. And that was my first movie in 1990. And then now I have done maybe 30 movies, and I like it very much. And I feel like I was lucky in my life from the beginning, and I think it's important now for me to help, and it's like a mission, to help people, and especially women, to create and to express their art.
Tell me about how Les Deux Amis came together.
Les Deux Amis came together thanks to Louis Garrel.
Okay.
Louis Garrel is a great director, actor. I asked him to develop a feature film with him. And so he wrote Les Deux Amis with Christophe Honoré. And all the process took about 3 years. Okay. And now it's here. Yes. And now we are here, thanks to the government of Iran.
Golshifteh, I'm interested in your character because she is full of imperfections, not like we have in the American films. Imperfect means she has messy hair and trips over things, but she is really a flawed character who is very desirable and attractive, but also very challenging and not always likable. How did you feel about her, and what did you draw on to bring out those characteristics of not always the most likable character?
I think it's very funny because I was there when Louis started writing the first page of the script. It started in India, in Goa. And I realized I was watching the script becoming to life and changing constantly. Like the character Iran was in the character in the beginning. Thanks to government of Iran. But Iran was there, still was there. And this tension and this intensity that he wanted to create was Iran and this girl that had some family there, and it was the Green Movement. And then I think as the time went by, I didn't want to have a past anymore, because I think there's a problem in France that we have, that anyone that is not European, we want to know where do they come from and why they come from somewhere, or why they speak English, or why they're human at the end of the day. And then I really didn't want that, because I knew that everything is linked to where you come from, because you are a foreigner. Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to do, you're a foreigner. And then with Louis, we realized that let's just take it out, and what to do to take this thing out. And then thanks to Christophe, he invented this half liberty, and Iran really came out of it. And it's very funny, the character of the girl in the short movie of Louis, it's so different with this movie because I think this movie was so inspired by me, and the girl is so crazy and so really the limit of bipolar, and which I'm not, but and no actor is. And then we were reading it, like the pre-production for this movie for us actors, it was 3 years. We were in 3 years of pre-production for this movie. Every page he was writing, we were reading it together many, many times. I knew the script by heart, like constantly, every draft. I knew it by heart, and he wanted it for us to know it by heart. And then, of course, some technical things that I went to like the sandwich place in Gare Montparnasse, which was freezing, and I started working there. We went to prison. We were talking, and of course, I think Louis, because he knew all my tics of craziness and how I can get angry, how I can just explode. So this train scene that when the train leaves, we didn't even rehearse this scene because we only had one train that was going to leave for us. And after that train was finished, and something very funny happened when we started shooting, and I was pushing this button and the door opened in front of me, and the train started leaving with the door open. And we knew that we have to continue, because if we don't, we're gonna lose the train. I think the process of preparing the part was throughout years and weeks and days, in a way.
You have said you don't really like politics, but to what you were just saying, you just want to act and make movies, but many of your films are political. And do you feel, even though maybe you don't like it, do you feel there's a responsibility to push those issues with your art? Or really are you just wanting to make the beautiful films?
I really do want to make only beautiful films, but also some films that like are happening in Afghanistan, or like some very terrible parts of the planet which people, or especially women, have been treated very badly. There are beautiful movies, but it happened to be political, like it becomes political. It's art, but it becomes political. Like my case, that I don't want to do anything political, but anything I do, it becomes political. Like Léa Seydoux, as you were mentioning, she's not wearing the veil, or she's naked, or she's doing whatever. It's just art. There's no problem in it. But when I'm walking, it becomes a political walk or anything. I don't want anything with politics. But it's like following us, because we are coming from the Middle East, and whatever you do, it represents something. But like Madame Bovary never represent France. Like no one says, this woman is representing France, because we know about France, but because we don't know about that part of the planet, whatever you do, it becomes a representation of a country, which you're not at all, you're just artists. But like as you see in this movie, Deux Amis, or in the Christophe Honoré, Les Malheurs de Sophie, I will be playing mother of Sophie. There is no politics. But I think it was one big barrier that I had to, first of all, I had to tell people that I was not born with a scarf. Because when I came out of Iran, people think that you came out of your mother's belly in the scarf. So they can't imagine that this scarf is not on it stick to your hair. So, and then of course you have language, you have your dark skin, dark hair. But like, that's the thing, that's a big barrier, I think, for all of us, that we're coming from some far, far away countries. But at the end of the day, we're all artists. And
right. And Dominique, do you feel these pressures as a producer? You said you like to mentor young women, but do you also feel like you want to make films that are progressive for women and move these ideas forward?
No, of course, I don't feel the same way, because, as I said, I can't. No, I think that is very interesting. She said, I think she always has to think about that,
right.
And we don't know our luck, because we don't have to think about that. We don't think about that at all. We are thinking, sometimes we have to think that we are women. I consider myself as a lucky woman. And your question about what is political, what is art, I think everything you do in life, in a way, is political. I mean, is a way of behave yourself, and could be a way to be free, or not, from convention, from rules. And in my job, I think it's very important to try to be as independent, as free, as open as possible. So I don't do things in conscience. I don't say now I have to produce a film from a woman from this part of the world or from this. No, I just do what I think it's what I like myself, right. And what is and so. But at the end of not at the end of my career, because it's not the end. But when I look back, I've produced film from Lebanon. There's Nadine Labaki's movie. Which is very important for women, and Valeria Golino, who is another beautiful, artistic and important woman. Very strong things, even if it is not consciously something done by a woman, but it helps people, I'm sure, and it helps young girls to make conscious that it is possible.
I don't like to ask the question, how are they different from male directors? But there are differences in experience and perception, even if the skills are the same. What have you noticed, Golshifteh, working with male versus female directors, or how the story is told?
I think it's we really can't generalize, because some women are much more men than men, and some men are really women. Like, you don't have that, like, it's their personality. But I never worked with any female director in Iran, which is very funny. It never happened. But then all the directors, women that I worked with, they were women. Was in France, like Marjan Satrapi, Mia Hansen-Love, Jihan Shoaib, and I think I really enjoyed it, as I enjoyed working with male directors. I think they're all like different flowers. I can't really tell if there is a difference or not, but I think, of course, we have some biological difference that lead into some intellectual differences. But for me, I wasn't looking at it as a male or a female thing.
Do you ever have you ever found that you have more difficulty raising backing for a female director? Do you encounter any of those? I'm not trying to create them, but I'm just, I want to ask the question.
I don't think so. I haven't felt that. But I think, which is not exactly your question, but I think female producer and male producer are different. Director, I can't feel it. They are artistic people, and they are doing their films, and they're directors, and they're
each is unique.
Each is unique, and each is so. But I think the way to be involved in a film when you're a producer and you are a woman is a bit different. I think it's very hard to explain, because very easily you feel in kind of generalization stupid. I mean, it's a very cliche. But I do my job. Sorry, but a bit like a mother. The way you are with the director is, you try to feel him or her comfortable, quiet, not so stressed, and so there is a link between the producer. The link between the producer and the director is very, very important for a movie. I think really that. And when the producer is a woman, you are trying to impulse something more easy and more sweet, even if sometimes there are conflicts. And I have noticed that a lot of women producers are like that. And when it's a man, it's more with force. Well, sorry, these are really things.
As a rule, to which there are many exceptions.
Yes.
Golshifteh, you have said, I love this, Paris is a city that liberates you as a woman from all your sins that you think you are guilty of, and washes away all of that, and you are free. Many have read about this. You've expressed your freedom, your liberation, to some controversy with your body, with some scenes in films where you are topless, with a video promoting the César Awards where you exposed a breast, and most recently on the cover of Egoist, you were nude. Why is this, and beautiful, very artistic, but why is this important for you? Why is this expression important for you and for other women in art and society?
Oh, this story is a very long story. Again, it's very hard to explain. I think what happened to me, honestly, is that for that video of César, the funny thing is that they told me the shot is from here and not from here. So this is the truth. of what happened. And I never knew that the shot is from here. And I went through all that thing because of a simple, funny thing, and I became the symbol of Jeanne d'Arc, of liberty, but there was a truth behind that, and I was just watching it becomes like that. It's like my life is like this. It's like sometimes I jump from a cliff that I don't even realize that I'm jumping, but it is happening, and I just should say, okay, how am I gonna land? And then after that, this photo shoot of Egoist was like 2-3 months after, and I went through such a difficult time. My parents, my father, it was terrible. I can't even explain. Maybe I should write something one day about it. This photo shoot of Egoist was few months after, and I was so wounded, because I have been wounded from back there many times when they kicked me out of my country, when I lost my home, I lost my job, I lost my family, everything. I lost everything. Again, wounded, and it keeps on going. And then this photo shoot, I wanted to just ask in those photos that, what is your problem? Look at me. What is your problem? Am I a threat? The problem of women in this world, and why this much fear of women? Why everything is about putting the veil on women? So there is a fear. The reason, I think, it's the weakness of men, that they are just oppressing women this much. And why? There is no reason for that, really. And I think unconsciously your body becomes something like you just open it up and you say, you want to kill me? What do you want? What do you want from me? Just do it. Look at it. It's nothing there. Just close your eyes or open it, just with nothing in your background. And of course, it's very funny. This magazine came out 2 years after, which 2 years after I was already in another period of my life, which if it was 2 years after, I wouldn't do it, because I didn't have the same anger. I didn't have the same question, because that was solved. I didn't have the same adrenaline to be able to face all that. Again, another wave of insults and terrible energy. Every time something like this comes out, I get sick like in my deathbed. I couldn't even tell them, just don't. I don't have any answer, because if it was 2 years ago, I would go like, yes. Like, you want to fight with me? I'm here. Fight with me. I'm there. But it wasn't there anymore. I was already out. And as I told you, like, showing my body is not about manifesting anything. It's about this movie. Mona is under shower, and the character is under shower, and the character won't go in a t-shirt in the shower. So, and I have nothing to do with Iran. If they're taking it against themselves, it's their problem. It's not my problem. I'm just doing my job. And as an actress, as an international actress, they kicked me out. If they wanted me, they could keep me there. They didn't, so I'm out now.
Right. And right now, you don't think you'll go back there. You won't live or work there
it's
again.
It's not that I don't think. It's that I can't. Everybody can. Even the Queen of Iran can go back to Iran, but then you don't know if you can come out of there. So the doors are open. Even they give messages that come. But you know that for me, I think I need a big reform to be able to go back.
Right. Is there anything that you wouldn't do in a film? Is there anything any limit for you in physically or emotionally in a film, in a character?
I won't play in a movie that I don't believe in. I don't play in a movie that I think it's an underlying lie behind it. And I didn't since I came out of Iran. Of course, there are so many propositions that I feel like this is not true. This is, especially from that part of the planet, which of course, first of all, you're a terrorist, then you have some extreme underground life, which everybody is interested in, especially in Iran. But I've been there, and I don't betray myself, and I don't betray the people of Iran, but not in the point of view of the government, in my point of view and the general point of view, which is not absolute, which is not an absolute truth, but at least it's my little truth.
Let's talk about Johnny Depp. No, and you said the Pirates of the Caribbean is a beloved, massive franchise, and you've had many films change your career and your life, but this is it's a couple years away, 2017, but it is going to be a new order of fame for you around the whole world. And are you anticipating that? Do you know what that will mean for you? Do you know what you expect from that?
I think in cinema, things are so unpredictable that you think like, this is gonna, I made it, and then the movie come up like flop, like everybody, they're like, so I don't think so. I think Les Deux Amis is gonna give me more income and credit mental than Pirates of the Caribbean. And there's a story behind that, because I was supposed to work with Disney on Prince of Persia. And because the government stopped me and they didn't let me go and do that movie, Disney producers, they want to do another like collaboration with me. So there was something behind it with Disney that it didn't happen. And it was very touching because I saw that producer and I told him this story and they had no idea. He was telling from his point of view that we were sitting in LA waiting for you. We didn't know what's happening to you. We just had an actress that didn't take that flight and we didn't know why. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't tell them that, excuse me, they just took my passport in the airport and I'm going through interrogations. I was just trying to solve the problem to be able to go. Mm-hmm. And when I was telling him story, he was shocked. He was saying, why didn't you tell us? We could do something. I said, no, you guys, you wouldn't. You just don't want trouble, any trouble. So yes, Pirates and all these blockbusters, I mean, the best thing about them is that I know how much I appreciate little independent, filthy, like so much trouble cinema, and I know that I belong to this more than anything else.
What makes you optimistic about the future of women in film?
No, I think we have to keep going, be aware of that, and me as a producer, I would like to keep going, produce films from these wonderful director women I work with, and I think it's possible, and I know it's possible, and I think it's, you have to produce, you have to create new projects, you have to meet new person. I believe in action, in doing things, and that's why I'm optimistic, because I think there is a way to do things, and so you can
move forward.
Yeah.
And for you?
There's no hope. I'm sorry. No, but I think me again, I think I've seen the most strong women in that side of the world, in Iran, in Egypt, in Lebanon, in countries that women are so oppressed and under so much pressure. Even in Iran, some regions, like Kurdistan, that even men are putting more pressure on women. There, women are just like machines, like they are so strong and free. That's, I think, what's one subject that we were talking about it, like this character of Mona. Mm-hmm. She's in prison, but she's free. She's freer than the other two boys. And I think it's a very contradictory story that I was feeling freer as a woman in Iran than outside. It's very, I wish one day I can really make people understand that there is some kind of it's like you're free in a big prison, but sometimes I feel like on the other side of the world, we are just in prison in a free world, which are making like, you have the imaginary walls around you, which in Iran, you have so many big walls around that you have to be free inside those walls, and you're living the absolute present moment, and women are just there. Like in Fridays, which is like Sunday here, it's weekend, there is a traffic for exhibitions. Like you go out, imagine on Sunday in Paris, and there's traffic, they call it exhibition traffic, because people are going to different exhibitions. Theater, art it's not something intellectual, it's more essential. It's about living. It's the fire that is burning in the heart of people, which no one can ever take that from them. Mm-hmm. Because culture and art is something that is going to keep this tree of life of any country going, and no dictatorship can take that away from a nation. And I'm very proud that under all these dictatorships that we have since 700 years ago in Iran, it's like an Olympic fire that generations after generation, we just try to keep it alive, to be able to pass it to next generations, and all the forces are trying to turn it off, turn this fire off, but this fire is so deep and strong. And of course women are a very big part of it, because women, they had to wear the veil since the beginning of the revolution. No men, my father didn't go on streets saying, don't put the veil on my wife's head. They weren't even happy about that. So I think women are the one that are taking all this pressure, and they're becoming butterflies. They're taking all these horrible negative things and make it into beautiful gardens. And I'm very proud of being a woman. If I had a choice of coming back to this life, I would choose to be a woman, and even in Congo, even in Afghanistan, because I think it's a big part of humanity, being a woman.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's a wonderful note for us to end on. Thank you both very much for being here today.